I'm going to show you a way that you can pretty consistently solo 6-star raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, in order to do this method, you're going to need a Pokemon that's name is Iron Hands. And this is a Pokemon Violet exclusive, so you'll either have to trade with it or join someone who has playing Pokemon Violet in order to get it. But if you can get your hands on Iron Hands, you can pretty consistently solo most 6-star raids with this Pokemon. Now, there are a few things that you're going to want to do, though, before you can actually solo with Iron Hands. You need a perfect setup to be able to have a good chance at this. So, first off, you're going to want to take him to level 100. I mean, if you're going to do a 6-star raid, you really need level 100, ideally. So, after you hit level 100, the moves that you're going to want are Drain Punch, Belly Drum, and Close Combat and Thunder Punch, ideally. Although, we may talk about Low Kick in a little while, though I haven't tested a whole lot. But these ones are usually good enough to be able to do it. And then for his ability at the bottom right, you'll see he has Quark Drive. That's the ideal one for Iron Hands, because that lets us do a certain trick to be able to get even more attack when fighting the Tera raids. So then that brings you to that trick, which is to have this held item, which is called a Booster Energy. Now, you'll get one of these at the end of the game. Near the end of the game, I think it was in the director's office or something, but you'll end up with one eventually. And once you have it, you get to him as a held item, and it will get used an unlimited number of times. Every battle, it'll use it. And that will activate his Quark Drive, which will boost his attack even further. Next up, you're going to need a ton of money, and then you're going to have to go to Messagoza West. Or not necessarily only this place, but we're looking for one of the Chansey shops. And you'll need a lot of money to do this next part. And this next part's not completely required, but doing it will increase your odds of successfully completing the 6-star raids. Because even with what I'm about to show you, you'll run into some that you can't quite do, or you'll run situations where you just barely couldn't do it. And this helps a lot. So you go over to this shop, and then in here you can buy all the items for manually increasing IVs. So ideally you're going to want HP ups, you're going to want protein, and you're going to want, I think it was 3 PP ups, because one of your moves, specifically Drain Punch, needs more PP in order for this to work. But then HP up and protein, depending on what Iron Hands you got, you may only be able to use a certain amount of these. And there's kind of a thing that you'll want to do that I'll tell you about. I can't really show you because I've already used it on my Iron Hands. But say buy like 15 and 15 to get you started or something like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do this trick where you open up... Oh, God, not your map. You're going to open up your inventory. And you're going to go to your bag. And you're going to go over to those items that you ideally just bought. And let's say HP up. Just as an example, I can't use any more on my... Iron Hands, but let me go look at a different one. So something you can do, okay, apparently he has max IVs. Let me use on one that might not have max IVs like this. What you can do is you can go up in number like this, and if you can use all of the HP ups that you have in your inventory, then that means you can use more. If you hit a point, though, where you can't use any more, like say he can only take 25 and you have 30 of them, then when you start going up, it will stop at 25, and then it'll scroll back down to 1, because that's the max that you can put on them. And that's really important to know. So you're going to keep buying little bits at a time until you get to where it's like you have just one or two more than how many you need. And the reason you're going to do that is because you're actually going to stop short, one short specifically. So say this guy could take 6, say it was Iron Hands, and 6 was like where it rolls back over to 1, and so it's like, okay, say I can only use 6. Then instead I would use 5. And the reason we're going to do that is because of a backup strat that I want you to have available to you, which involves him having an even amount of HP. So if we go and we look at my Iron Hands, I specifically gave him 500 HP. So if you use HP ups and you're one short like that, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go down here and use Health Feathers instead for that last point of last IV. Because with these, you can actually use... I think 6 of these is the same as 1 HP up, so you can just use 2 of these at a time until you go up like 1 HP. And the reason I'm telling you all of this, because I know this has been dragged on here, but you need an even amount of HP for the backup strat, which is an uncommon thing. I just want to make sure you get the best case scenario here. You have all your options available. But for the backup strat that we'll have available, you want even amount. So 500 or 502 or 504 or 506, but not an odd number. Okay. Then for the protein to increase his attack, you just do it till you can't use anymore. So don't worry about that. One's not too complicated. You just want to get HP to where it's as high as it can go, but also even, and then attack just all the way through. And then other than that, you're also, like I said, going to use PP ups on his Drain Punch. So that way you'll have 16 PP instead of 10, which can make the difference in some fights. Next up, it would be nice for you to have it available to you as another backup option. Another option, another situation is Messagoza. Head over to the west, and you go to South Province Area 2, and just to the southwest of that, there's a TM for low kick over on one of these ledges. And you can go there and grab that too and teach it to your Iron Hands, because there is a specific scenario where it could be better than than close combat as a backup move. So those are all just prep things to make sure you have options, because even with all these options, you can't always perfectly consistently beat 6-star raids, but you can beat a lot of them. And if you have all these options, it just increases the number of 6-star raids that you can beat, like first try, basically. The last option you'll have available to you as an item to use... Oh, I always open the map instead of the thing. Okay, so the last thing you want is a citrus berry. So go over to the berry tab, and there is citrus berry. And you can get this as a reward from Tera raids, so just beating anywhere from, I think, 1 through 4-star or 5-star even can just randomly give you a citrus berry. I assume lower levels would be where I got it from. I don't really remember, but yeah. So having one of these is also nice. Citrus berries, apparently, from when I used it at least, it does not consume it when you use it. It uses it in the battle, but it'll just keep it as a held item forever. In every battle, they'll use a citrus berry, which this is why we want an even amount of HP, because if you have an even amount of HP and you use Belly Dance, then it will activate the citrus berry and restore like 1/3 of your health or something like that, which in certain select scenarios can be the difference between being able to do a 6-star raid or not. So that's the last prep thing. So now let's go ahead and take a look at one of these 6-star raids so you guys can see what I'm going on about, why we're setting this guy up. So now it's time to find a 6-star raid. If you don't know how to find them, on the map, they're like these darker, blacker looking icons, and then it'll be whatever type on top of that, but they'll look like more black like this. And if you don't know how to unlock 6-star raids, check out the description of this video. Somewhere in the bunch of links in the description of this video, I have a video about how to unlock 5 and 6-star raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Well, either way, you're going to find it on the map and go to it. You can reset these by moving time forward. So if it's one that you think you can't do, you can just move time forward. So you'll check it, and then we're going to be doing this alone because it's actually easier to beat these by yourself unless you have a dedicated group who knows what they're doing. And when you do it alone, the NPC is, when they faint, it does not take any time away from the timer, which makes it really important because we want to be able to carry this as much as possible and don't want our teammates to feed uncontrollably and stop us from winning. So in most of these scenarios, you're going to start off with a simple setup. Now, the simpler form of doing this is to have a booster energy on, and then we're just going to go for a belly dance. But in some scenarios, you can go for the citrus berry if their enemy is going to do too much damage too fast for you to do this strat. So for this strat, like I said, booster energy activates the Quark Drive ability, and then once it's our turn to go, we're going to belly drum, which will cut our HP in half. And then if the enemy does not do too much damage, then we should be okay to use a belly drum and then follow up with a drain punch without fainting, which is not always guaranteed. Like I said, that's why the citrus berry is a backup strat to be able to get through the first rounds of the battle. But if it goes well, you'll start with a drain punch then, and they won't necessarily stop you. And because we have our boost our attack, belly dance boosts our attack 6 stages, which lets us do an insane amount of damage with this drain punch. So we just hit like over 800 damage right there with drain punch, which full heals us then. Now, some of these enemies, you'll be able to tell right away if it's even possible to beat them with an Iron Fists. And most enemies, surprisingly, can be beat with Iron Fist. Even if they're super effective against us, we can often beat them anyway with Iron Fist because this strategy is so good. But if you think that you can't do it, then what you need to do is right before you start one of these, you want to save your game. And then if you get like a few turns into this and you think that you can't beat it, you'll just hit the home button and you'll close your game and reopen it. So that way you can either start over or just go get a different 6-star raid to do. That'll save you a ton of time because once you're in this, you're so committed. So instead, you would just save, like I said, you save the game, and then you would just close if you realize immediately that this Pokemon is not doable for your Iron Fist. But again, most Pokemon can be beat by Iron Fist. I'm able to win like maybe 70-80% of these just going to every single one. But every now and then there's one where it's like it's a perfectly wrong matchup, and there's no way for Iron Hands to do it. But anyway, so generally speaking, you'll just you'll keep using Drain Punch, and then once he uses the shield, you'll Terrestrialize. But there's a little bit of nuance to it, because when you Terrestrialize, you'll change to your Tera form, which is, I think, either electric or fighting for Iron Hands. And if it's electric, you're going to have to use Thunder Punch after doing this, which means you can't heal yourself. So ideally, you're going to want fighting as your Tera type. And I'll talk about how to change your Tera type in just a moment. But yeah, if you do this, then you have to be careful how you do this, because once you do this, you're not fighting electric anymore. Now you're only fighting. And there are times where you'll be fighting something where they're not super effective, but they're not ineffective or whatever, not resistant. But once you become full fighting, then they're super effective, and then that can like lose the match for you. So there are times and places where you want to just not Terrestrialize and just slug it out with Drain Punch only. But that scenario is kind of infrequent. And also, so you also have to watch out. There's basically stage 2 equivalent when he undoes your belly drum. And then you're in a weird spot where you have to decide how much HP do you have, can you get another belly drum off, is it worth the risk, will you be able to do it? And in this case, I got super unlucky and he hit a crit, and I would not be able to do it now, and I don't know, now it's tough. But depending on the scenario, you'll be so far ahead that it won't even matter. So like right now, I would just say, okay, go for a Drain Fist. If he takes me out, he takes me out. And I can probably revive and just belly drum and then Drain Fist and win anyway. Or at this point, I'm so far ahead, I may be able to just do Drain Fists or Drain whatever it punches without even belly drums, whatever. And I may still just be totally fine and win. So like, it just depends. There's a lot of nuance to playing this, but generally speaking, you should be able to pull it off in most cases. Now, this guy's not the perfect example of what I want to fight, because A, he's really lucky for critting me with close combat of all things, but also he just does so much damage that it's actually hard to get a belly drum off without going down. So yeah, if you sense that you can't do it, you just reset immediately, or you just, if this doesn't work out, then yeah, I would just be like, okay, well, this one actually couldn't do it, and I would just move on to another. Although I think this one's probably doable. I just kind of got really unlucky that he just crit twice in critical moments. So for this one in particular, he does so much damage, it's a little risky. I think I could probably beat him if I tried again. But instead, I'd say, why waste my time? Instead, just open up your home menu and go to your system settings, and then go down to system, and then just go to your date and time, and go to date and time again, and move the day forward 1 day, hit OK, and then hit the home button and go back into the game, and it'll say that at the top. If it doesn't, just change it forward a day again, and now you'll have a new 6-star raid somewhere. Every now and then, every once in a while, there'll be a day that just doesn't even have a 6-star raid, and then you'll skip ahead again. But now you'll look around for your next 6-star raid and see if it's something that is more manageable or something that is better suited. So here's mine, and then I would now fly to this and go run over to that 6-star raid. All right, so this one's a Taurus. This should be way easier to do than the Infernape or whatever his name was. This one is way... that one was a really tough one just because he hit like a truck. This one will be way easier. All right, so just like last time, you're going to start off with a belly drum and see what he does. Now, if he has some crazy thing that's super effective, then it's bad. But you see right there, he only hit for 67 damage. So in this case, we are good to go. Unless he has some other move that he's going to pull out, this should be just an easy cakewalk now. So belly drum, followed up with a Drain Punch. That should heal us almost to full because, oh my god, with this guy, it's actually super effective. So this one, he's going to get farmed. This one's going to be so easy. It's going to be crazy. I'll just show you the whole thing. I'll probably be done in like less than a minute here. All right, so one hit, and he's already lost a third. If he doesn't go into energy form, we're going to hit him with a close combat and almost one-shot him. So we'll see what he does here. Okay, so use Sunny Day. We'll see if he puts up an energy shield or not. I hope he doesn't. It'd be fun to show you if not. Okay, no, he put up the energy shield, so we're just going to have to fight through that. But yeah, so now we'll attack Drain Punches. And then once we get this Drain Punch and another one, then I'll be able to Terrestrialize, and we'll be able to pop his shield and finish him off. All right, so now I've Terrestrialized, and we're going to see how hard we hit him. But also, an important thing I need to tell you about is you need to read the text and make sure whether or not he undid your status effect, so undid the belly drum. Because I personally have this really bad habit of not reading the text, and then I won't know when he got rid of my damage. And you need to know that so you can belly drum immediately if possible. But thankfully, he hadn't done that. So now we'll do this, and if he lets me attack again before undoing the damage, then I should be able to close combat and just finish this off in one hit. We'll see what he does here. All he did just increase his defense, so that might make the difference here. Alright, well, as soon as these guys are done, I'll be able to show you what I mean. Nope, he undid the, that's what I nullify the stat, change the build effect on your side. So now I'm not going to finish him off right away. Instead, I'm going to go for another belly drum and then finish him off. But with how weak he is, if I wanted to play it safe, I could just Drain Punch over and over again, and he'll go down even without my belly drums or whatever they're called. So it's up to you which way you want to do. But at this point, we could honestly like just cheer heal or something, and our allies could even kill him at this point with how weakened he is. But now just be safe to use a Drain Punch, and it may just finish him off. We'll see here. Even my allies are actually doing crazy damage to the Taurus, and they're just NPCs. But anyway, Drain Punch. Let's see if it does it. Yep, there you go. And that's usually how most of them go. Like 70 to 80% of them, I can just do it like this first try to varying degrees of difficulty. This one was particularly easy, but I've seen ones that are even easier than this guy, and I've seen ones that are harder than this, but still totally doable. That first one that we fought in particular was a tough one. He was, that was one of the tougher ones, just because he hit literally so hard. Even without super effectiveness, he hit for like 250 HP, which was pretty extreme. Okay, so that's how to solo, but now really quick, how do we change our Tera type? Because like I said, in order to do this ideally, the best way, in my opinion, is just to go ahead and get Fighting as the Tera type. That is like the best case scenario. So let me show you how to change your Tera type. So in order to do that, you're going to open up your inventory. There are items that you get. I have to remember what tab those things are in. But there's items that you get that are in your other items tab. You go up because you're near the bottom, and there are these Tera shards. And you'll need 50 of a specific type. So I would need Fighting Tera shards specifically for what I would want with this Iron Hands. Now, in order to get these, you'll get them from Tera raids. So when you open up the map and you look around, the Tera raids each have their Tera type. So that one's Fairy. That one's, I don't know what the hell that is on a Psychic. Dragon, Dark, Fighting. So here's a Fighting. So whether this is 1 star, 2 star, 4 star, 8, well, not 8 star doesn't exist, 6 star. If I go do this, I will get Fighting Tera shards. And so I will just keep doing these until I get 50 Tera shards. Or I can duplicate them, I think. Because I'm pretty sure I can give them to... actually, we're going to find out right now because I actually don't know offhand. So my Fighting Tera shards... Yeah, I could give my Tera shards to my mount and do the duplication exploit on it, and it would take me like almost an hour to get all 50, but it would actually be way faster than going and doing those raids if you want to cheat that way. And if you do, then look through the description of this video for links to my other videos about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and you'll eventually find somewhere in there my video about the duplication exploit where you can just dupe them instead. Well, regardless of which way you choose to get them, once you have 50 of them, you are going to head over to Medali, and you're going to go to Medali East, because there's a restaurant here that we need to go to in order to change our Tera type. Also, it's important to know that in order to change your Tera type, you have to have beaten the Medali gym. But once you do that, you can go over to this restaurant right here and go into here. And there's a second person you can talk to. So the first person's right by the entrance to buy stuff. But if you run all the way to the back and try to talk to the man behind the counter, he'll tell you you're the person who beat Larry, special kid, favorite customers, talking about changing Tera types. He just needs Tera shards, and then he gives you 50 normal ones, so you can change a Tera type to normal right out of the gate. And then that's the same thing that you would do for anything else. So he asks you, you'd say, I brought normal, whatever shards, or whatever, depending on what you have. So I have 50, so I can tell him I brought normal. But it only shows you which ones you have available. So I only have 50. The only one I have more than 50 is normal right now. But if I had 50 Fighting, it would be in this list, and it would say it would also have an option for I brought Fighting Tera shards, and then you would select that, and then you would select Iron Hands, and then he would change his Tera type over to Fighting. And then you'll have like the ideal Iron Hands where he's a Fighting Tera type, and you have all the things that you need and stuff. And then the last thing to mention here before we're done here is I was talking about the TM for low kick, which I'm not sure I even have right now on this save. But there's a TM for low kick, like I told you about. Yeah, here it is. And the way it works is the heavier the target, the greater the move's power. And this is a pretty niche one, but I would recommend having this on your Iron Hands if you can, because then what you can do is when you check the Tera raid and it shows you what it is, if it's a Pokemon that's really heavy, like Tyranitar or Dragonite or Garganacl or something like that, then you'll be able to hit max power with it. If they're heavy enough, I think it was over 200 kilos or something, then it'll hit with the power of 120, which will make it the strongest fighting move you can do with no repercussions. Because right now, close combat hits 120, but it lowers your defense. So if you do see one and you're like, oh wow, that's a really heavy Pokemon, that's like a Tyranitar or something, or they don't have Snorlax in this game, but Snorlax would be a great example, then you would swap out close combat with low kick instead. And then if your HP is full and you don't need to worry about healing, they're not hitting you very hard, you can hit low kicks in order to speed up the process and make yourself more likely to win the Tera raid battle. So that is how you do it, guys, with this Pokemon, Iron Hands, and that's all the details, not just like the top level summary. I made sure to tell you guys every single detail so you don't miss a beat and you have the best chance possible of being able to solo those 6-star raids. But there you go, that's Iron Hands. You can find him in the creator in Pokemon Violet only. He's a Violet exclusive. You'll need to trade for him or have join a party with someone who is playing on Violet and do some finagling with that. But once you get it and you do all the stuff that I told you, then you'll be able to easily solo the vast majority of 6-star Tera raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.